Recently I was looking through all the anime this season, and that's when I noticed something's missing. I also noticed that people really hate Suicide Squad Isekai. But what exactly is missing? Well, first let's look at some examples. Jujutsu Kaisen, ReZero, and I don't know, that one anime with the worst main character ever. 3 very popular anime with 3 very different themes, but they're all kind of similar in the way they're told. You have a storyline and different arcs to separate that storyline, most of which have their own exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, and resolution. Now hearing that, you might be like, didn't this guy just describe like every anime ever? What if I told you there were anime that took all that cookie cutter storytelling, threw it out the window, and still managed to be one of the best received anime of all time? Enter Serial Experiments Lain and Perfect Blue. Released in 1998 and 1999, both have such a wide impact on anime as a whole to the point where they're considered cult classics. But why? What did these 2 anime have that made them so special today's anime doesn't? What's the thing that's missing? Well, to answer that, first we have to understand both of their stories and how they're similar. Serial Experiment starts with this saying, I don't need to stay in a place like this. If you stay in a place like this, you might not be able to connect. And that's when we meet our MC, Lain. Lain is chill, but also very shy. She doesn't talk a lot. By the way, keep this really weird shadow in mind because we're gonna need it for later. And she takes a train to school. After a while, she arrives at school. In the classroom, a girl is crying, and she finds out everyone's getting emails from the girl that died. And then she can't read, and then smoke starts coming out of her fingers. It only gets weirder from here, I promise. So she goes home, turns on her gigantic 3DS XL, and logs into her email. Oh, there it is. I have only given up my body. By doing this, I can explain to you that I am still alive. Blah, blah. You will all understand soon. Everyone will. Understand what? What I do understand is this thing called the power button, is what I would say. Lane's just like, that's normal. She goes on to say there's a rumor at school that her email is a prank, which means somehow she knows everything that happens in the real world. So obviously when she's eating dinner with her family that doesn't talk at all, she's like, so mom, I got an email from a girl that died last week. And the mom's just like,
oh, that's crazy. I don't care at all. Shut up.
And we're left with so many questions. How can she still communicate with people from the real world? What's so good about this place you'd go this far to reach it? Why does her dad need 7 monitors in his setup? The answer is the internet. Well, more specifically, a really advanced virtual world called the Wired. You can connect to the Wired by using a Navi, and the more complex your Navi, the deeper you can go. The 3DS XL is cool and all, but if she wants to see the dead girl, ding ding, she needs an upgrade. So she asks for one, and this is her dad's reaction. If you couldn't tell already, this is not a normal family. Lain gets back on the train the next day and the train hits something. And while everyone's still in shock, Lain looks out the window. There's blood coming from the power line. She teleports into the street. People start disappearing. And while she's walking back home, everything fogs up and she appears next to a railroad. And the girl just went under the crossing. She's back in school, but Lane's illiterate, remember? Until the board clears and says, come to the Wired as soon as you can. I know I said the train part was the craziest part, but look at this. The dead girl literally no clips into the world and then disappears like it's a Minecraft server. Also, these shadows look kinda weird. I'm getting the slightest hint it might be symbolizing something. I'm also getting a hint this is a transition to Mima. She's about to make a banger. And I know bangers. Mima is a pop idol and also the main singer of the idol group Champ. Well, she was, but soon we found out she quit to be an actor, which is a problem since her manager Rumi wants her to stay a pop idol to relive her failed career, and her film agent is trying to help her further her acting career. There was also someone else. Oh, there he is. This is the creepy stalker guy. Mima announces this is gonna be her last song as a member of Champ, and after she performs, everyone congratulates her until someone says this. Now I love this scene because it shows that Mima over anything, over being a pop idol, over being an actor, is just a normal person. She has dishes in the sink. She has fish to take care of. She even has plushies, just like me. And that's why it's even more unsettling when she opens a fan letter that says, I always like looking into Mima's room. I've put a link up to Mima's room. The next day, Rumi tells her that Mima's room is a website, but it's the 90s. She doesn't know anything about websites. Anyways, her agent gets a letter for her while it's time to show off her. Oh, that's weird. And now we get to see her act for the first time. Wow, I hate when my mail blows up on contact. A few days pass and Rumi shows Mima how to use the internet so she can check out Mima's room. But she finds a page called Mima's Diary that, get this, tells things that she did from her own perspective. From her messing up lines while acting to every single thing she bought in the store with perfect accuracy. so we understand the setups of each of their stories. But there's still 3 other factors connected to the missing element. The next being how both stories handle real life problems. DID is a mental health condition where you have 2 or more separate identities. Imagine this, but about 10 times worse, and you get Lain and Mima. The more their story goes on, the more their other selves make things more and more confusing. Like in the start of episode 2, we see someone get pushed to the ground, and the one we see walking away is clearly Lain. Like, she has the hairband and everything. When she goes to school the next day, a girl says she saw someone who looked just like her at a nightclub, but even they know something's up. Remember this? Lain is chill, but also very shy. She isn't chill or shy. Mima isn't any different. In fact, the main plot of the story is her conflict with the real Mima. A Mima that never became an actress, that never ruined her image, a Mima that's perfect. We start seeing this version of her everywhere, and soon horrible things start to happen. This is when Mima, just like Lain, starts to forget what she did and didn't do, and everything spirals into a world of uncertainty. The stress and problems of being a public figure, the very real problem we have today with our reliance of technology, these representations and connections to real life are a part of what makes this type of anime stand out so much. Another thing that complements these themes really well is symbolism. This might sound weird, but one of the most important parts of the storytelling in Perfect Blue is the color red. It's used as such a powerful tool to represent the feeling of the old Mima taking over, and it becomes more and more prevalent as the story goes on. Like, there's this scene when Mima is realizing her career path she's taken might not be the best, and even though you probably didn't notice it until now, the scene from earlier when she finds out someone's stalking her. But probably the most impressive symbolism is how accurately this guy symbolizes real life influencers. Now, this is the most unique part, but also the final thing that brings it all together. After you watch an anime like Jujutsu Kaisen, when your friend asks you, so what was it about? You're like, well, it's about a teenager eating fingers, but the fights were hype and the animation is crazy. But if someone asks you what one of these two were about, you just go, huh, I actually don't know at all. And that's perfectly fine. The truth is, it's literally impossible for you to understand these two from the first watch because you're not supposed to. Both of them have such a scattered style of storytelling, it's only possible to understand by either re-watching or watching analysis videos, which made me realize what was missing this whole time. The thing that's missing is ambiguity. Now, if you don't know this word, I didn't either, I had to look it up, but by definition, it's the quality of being open to more than one interpretation or inexactness. The way two people can watch the same thing and have totally different perspectives on it is just amazing to me. For example, to me, The Wired symbolizes how much we're so hopelessly invested and relying on technology. We're literally starting to see this in real life with people like Quabblecop. If you don't know, he's a YouTuber that literally made an AI version of himself that makes content for him so he doesn't have to lift a finger.
If I want to build tons and tons and tons of channels, we need to remove the human element.
And he believes it to be one of the greatest things he's ever done. But if we're so willing to give away our humanity for money or a better life, what makes us different than the girl who uploaded herself to The Wire? That's my thoughts, but to someone else who watched it, or someone 20 years ago whenever it first came out, it meant something totally different. And that's honestly the greatest part. This uncertainty, this inexactness, is what makes some of the greatest and most dedicated fan bases. Remember the website made by the person stalking Mima? Well, someone made it a one-to-one actual website you can actually go look up. And for serial experiments, there's a site with a whole bunch of fan-made interactive images and events. Not to mention, if you go to any video mentioning Lain, there's gonna be people spamming "Let's all love Lain" in the comments. Since there's no right or wrong answer, the fan base can come together and talk about their own perspectives on things. And that is why I think ambiguity is the thing that's missing from anime today. Luckily, I have a Discord called Perfect Blue, so subscribe and join if you're interested. I also respond to every comment, so
プレイトラック44